Well, as I promised, I'm going to show you what I was doing yesterday out here in the yard, most of the day. I got another project coming up right there. I'm not going to tell you what those blocks are for. I'll let you guess. What do you think I'm going to do with 16 cinder blocks? But I've been out here working in this part of the yard. And I put up one of my raised beds over there. You know, I had this one. But I got it mostly filled up. I was hoping it was going to rain today or last night real good and just really wash that down, but it didn't. So it needs to get wet down real good before I add any more dirt. But I added wood bark, little logs were about almost rotted away. I added leaves, cardboard. I put garden soil that was in the bags that I had out here in these blocks. Last year, you know, where I had the watermelon planted. So that's taken the place of one of the bags. And I'm not sure what I'm going to put here yet, but we'll see. This has collards in it, but I don't think I'm going to leave them there. I want to put something else in there, I think. Collards aren't looking too good. They froze. But they'll probably survive and come back. But like I said, I don't know if I want to leave them there or move them somewhere else. I'm still undecided about that. Because this makes it into a little greenhouse, basically. I can start some seeds in there, like turnips, beets, things of that nature. And the collards don't need to be in a greenhouse. They can be outside, so we'll see. I was thinking of maybe moving the collards over here to these buckets. So we'll see. But I wanted you to see my onions that I planted the other week? You know, they're living fine. All my other onions are living fine. They're a little bit cold weather hurt, a little, but you know, not much. Onions will survive through the freezing cold temperatures. But I need to get some of these onions out of here and plant something else in there. And see, I planted this pot of onions. My poor pot is about gone because it's out here in the hot sun all day. And there's the other pot of onions. You know, I finished planting the corner of it with more little onions. There's one right there and here. And I don't know if that catnip's going to make it since I put it in this other pot. It got freezing cold on us after I moved it. And I got this pot. I had a collard in it, but I'm going to take that out. And I'm thinking maybe a squash or a zucchini in that pot. My chives are looking good. There's some more onions, walking onions, Egyptian walking onions. I know not to do this when I come out here. Need my gloves on to do this. And I've got this full of Egyptian walking onions. And this will probably come back because the main plant's still alive. You know, there's green down in there. It'll come back. My carrots haven't come up yet, which is good. But here's the other project. Now, and I don't know if I'm going to leave it like this. But I put down a ground cover to keep the weeds from growing up in here. And these are the potato grow bags with the flap on the front. I don't know if you can see that. But that flap right here opens, and you can dig underneath your potato plant to get your potatoes out, so you don't have to pull the whole thing up. Now, what I've done is I put one layer of cardboard in the very bottom of this bag, or these bags. I put in leaves, a couple of inches of leaves, and then I put in garden soil that I have that was right here from the property. And then I planted potatoes, white potatoes in there, because I had 3 potatoes that were growing sprouts like crazy, and I said they're begging to be planted. So I cut them up, and I put 4 or 5 of those cuttings in each one of these bags. And then I took just a little bit of dirt, sprinkled it over the top, and covered those potato pieces up. And as they sprout and grow, and, you know, get a bush of anything, I'm going to add more dirt. And that's really what you're supposed to do with potatoes. As they grow, you add dirt. So the dirt comes up all along the stem of the plant. And all along the stem of the plant is where it puts out shoots to make your potatoes. So you're supposed to get more potatoes if you'll do them that way. So that's what I'm doing. When they sprout and start growing and they get any size to them at all, I'll add more dirt, more garden soil. And I'm going to try it and see if that'll work this year. See how it produces potatoes. But the leaves and the cardboard in the bottom is going to help retain a little bit of moisture in the bottom of the bag. Hopefully. Because there's no water reservoir on the bottom, and you know it gets awfully hot out here in the summer. But they may produce potatoes before it gets 110 degrees this summer. I don't know. Ain't that right, little buddy? I don't know where Lucky is. I think little buddy's run him off. Yeah, I think little buddy's run. What are you doing up there in my carrot bed? Little buddy, kitty, kitty, get out of my carrot bed. Get out of there. Look at him. I'm sure glad they're not sprouted to come up yet. That's not a bed for you to lie in, little buddy. Yeah, that's not a bed for you to hop up in. What do you think? You just own the garden? I can see I'm going to have to move or he's going to stay right there. Come on, little buddy. Come on. Kitty, kitty. Come on. Get him out of my bed. Look at that. And you know, this is my pea garden. I've got pole beans. I've got foot-long beans. I've got yard-long beans. I've got rainbow seeds. I'm not sure where I want to put the rainbows, though. I don't know if I want them in this or not. I may put another bucket over here and plant the rainbows in that. I don't know. And my poor tree collard is, all the leaves are gone, but the main stalk is still alive. So I think there's hopes for it. And this right here is going to be my collard, my cabbage patch again this year. I've been working the dirt, and that's where I'm going to plant my cabbage again. Because it did real good last year once it got started. So that's where my cabbage is going to be again. It grew good there last year for the first time, so I think it'll do good there this year. Because the dirt in the buckets is broke down even more, so it's just right. It just made really good, rich garden soil to plant in this year. So, I mean, that is my intentions right now. And I tried to get the compost out of this Miracle Grow turning bin, and it's like a solid rock in there. I'm going to have to wait till it thaws out and water it down good to get it out. And that continually breaks down. That's going to be real good to add to some of my pots this year. And to fill up that... oh, I got another project that I haven't told y'all about. Excuse me. I knew that was coming. But see my walking onions? You know, the cold has got some of the outer leaves, but the onions are fine. They don't mind this freezing cold weather. And there's my first pot. I've been pulling onions out of that. And I'll replant onions in there this spring when all these walking onions start walking. And I have more seeds to plant. Onion seeds, because, you know, I'll cook those. Hopefully I'll cook all these onions by then. Ain't that right, little buddy? You see, I've got another pot of them right there. And I've got, what, 4 or 5 pots over on the other side of the garden. I've got a pot of walking onions right there. I got garlic chives started in there. I'm going to have to dig them out because they take all the nutrients away from my tomato plants or my pepper plant when I put it there. And I still got to work this side of the garden, but it got cold on me, and I wasn't able to do it. And I'm curious to see which potatoes are going to do better. The ones I planted in these 2 gray totes. Because remember, we planted white potatoes in that one there. And in this one. I don't know if my hosta is going to come back up here in this pot. I don't remember if I planted potatoes or anything in this one. I don't think I planted anything in this pot. I planted the other 2, those 2 there, in potatoes, and then my hosta was in the middle one. I got to wait to see if it's going to try to come back up this year. I don't know if the roots are still alive or not. But I got to work through all these pots. I got collards in them. But I don't know if they're going to make it or not. Those little plants in the center are my collards. And these garlic chive seeds blow everywhere in the yard, and they're coming up in all my pots. That's a collard. That's a collard there. And I got a collard here. So, I don't know. Got all these other things coming up in there that don't belong. And another chive. I don't use that many chives, so I don't really need to even plant them. Usually I use onions instead of the chives. Everything's died off here. Oh, I got my tripod hung. I don't know if that'll come back or not. It was trying to grow, and then it froze on us. And see, I got to clean these pots out, get them ready to plant. These up here too. And look at that. I got garlic chives come up in this pot like crazy. And they come up from the garden soil that... Look at that. That's the garlic chive, y'all. Smells just like garlic. Now, I don't know why I pulled that up. But I got garlic chives all over the place because they come up in the... They're coming up in the potting soil. Well, not the potting soil, the garden soil that I've been putting together. Somehow they've got seeds down in them. And I did plant garlic chives one year. So I guess that's seeds left over in the dirt. And then too, where they grow and bloom, you know, they spread seeds like crazy, and the wind blows here. So there's no telling where garlic chives are going to come up. And I've been working in this. I need to cover it back up. That's all the dirt that I've been getting to put in those little cups for my seedlings. The ones in the greenhouse and here. I've got these little mini greenhouses full. I'll show you in here. If I can get down here and get the zipper. See the trays? I got the whole top shelf full. I got that shelf full that's covered with the clear plastic. All these pots full. I got the tray down on the bottom shelf full of seeds and dirt. And got the cover on it. Got my little heater in here. And Lucky's bed if he happens to be out and about when it's cold and I'm not around or I'm asleep and don't know he's wanting to get in. He's mostly been staying in the house on these freezing cold days anyway. Yeah, but I got a couple of more projects coming up. I got a project coming up with my cinder blocks. And you can see I had been moving these. I wasn't able to dig another hole to move one over here, so I had to put it back in the ground with the rebar. But I want to move it over there in that spot. And I can't because it's rock. So one of my projects coming up is to figure out how to move these. Well, I may leave it where it's at and do it right where it's at. I don't know yet. And I may move the planter over there. Because it's kind of in line with the rest of them. But yeah, I got to figure out something else to do with these bases of these poles. That's coming up as well. So I got a lot fixing to go on in my garden when the weather cooperates. My buckets were full of compost tea, but it was frozen yesterday. It was a solid block of ice in every bucket. Look at these garlic chives. And when they bloom this summer, they're going to spread millions and millions of plants around my yard. And I got an onion right there too. Look at that. That's the onion right there in the corner. Walking onion, I believe. Yeah, I'm going to have plenty of onions for sure. And it said, you know, to plant carrots outside, so I put the seeds out. But we need to get some rain to keep this dirt wet, because there's no reservoir of water in the bottom of it. It's just broken down wood bark, leaves, cardboard, garden soil, potting mix, compost. Yeah, I may move that. I don't know yet because I'm not sure how big those plants will get. And they'll sure be crowded back there. But they're there for right now. And like I said, you know, the bags are easy enough to pull out of there and move without disturbing the plant or without disturbing the dirt. And that little raised bed is easy to move too. I may figure out a way to fix the pots, the potato bags, keep them from turning over without using my raised bed as a support. That's what I'm using that for right now. And if I can figure out a way, I may build a wood frame, I don't know, just to support the potato bags, keep them from falling over whenever the potatoes are growing. And if I do, then I can move that raised bed somewhere else and actually plant something in it. And the potatoes will still be fine. But we'll see. But anyway, that's what I wanted to show you. It looks like it's been raining inside the greenhouse. The walls are completely wet. But that's what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to keep the humidity in. But like I said, my peas are planted. As soon as it gets warm enough for them to sprout and come up, I'll have peas, I guess. But it said to plant them outside in February, so they're planted outside. We'll see what happens. And I need to get more wood chips. I've put a request in for a load of wood chips so I can fill in back here. That's how I filled in before to make a path that I could walk behind my shed. It's all wood chips that I put down. It'll turn to soil. And I need to do it all back here behind my shed and around the garden area and everywhere. Because it slopes down to the water meter and everything drains that way. And it's unlevel. It slopes down too much and I need to build it up a little bit without going into the easement where the water meter is. So we'll see. And this guy over here, he had his cord tied off to my stake. And I heard the guy from the water company tell him that he was coming too far back. That wooden stake right there was my property line, not his. His is 10 foot to the right of that. And he pulled all his flags up. Well, he stuck one flag back down, but that's not 10 foot over. From what I understand, it's 10 feet from the property line to the next property line over that way. So, and he's about middle way of it with that orange. So, it'll be interesting to see what's going to happen with that. I think I heard him tell him too that the way they put the side of the house, well, they haven't built it yet, but the way they've got it framed up with the wood, and then he's got his property line staked off. He run it even with my property line, and that's not right. There's about a foot or two variance. The property lines don't line up from this lot to the back lot back there. You know, my lot don't line up with that one back here. They're off like about 2 feet or so. They kind of stagger. So if that's what he thinks his property line in, and it's only 5 feet from the side of that house, he's not going to be able to put the side of the house there because that's not his property line. I don't know if it would be if it's a couple of feet to the right, because I don't know. I'd have to go online and look at the map. But I know they're not completely lined up all the way through the lot. You know, like from one street to the other, they stagger. They're like 2 feet off, 2 or 3 feet off. So he can't line his property line up with my property line because it's not that way. And that's what he's trying to do. He even pulled my rebar up and hooked his yellow line to it, and it was pulling my rebar over. So I just took his line off of it and hammered my rebar down in the ground. It's not his, it's my rebar. I bought it, I put it there. The surveyor didn't put the rebar there. He put the little flag at the bottom there. But like I said, it's not his property line. His property line is at least 2 feet off of where my line is. Either to the right or to the left. I don't know which way. And they also told him he was getting too close to the easement. He's getting too close to the water lines where he dug to put that septic down. So he's going to get in trouble if he doesn't quit pushing his luck, I'm afraid. But anyway, that's him. He'll be the one in trouble, not me. I just don't want him hooking to my property line because there's 10 feet between them. He can't do that. Well, finally my bird bath's thawed up. It's running again. It's not a solid sheet of ice or a waterfall of ice. This one's thawed up and it was working fine today. But I need to get another one because this one has about had it. It's coming apart. I don't know if that poor cilantro is going to make it. Part of it's still green. So there might be hope for it yet. And my poor mums tried to come up. I saw green. Don't see green now. These last couple of days of freezing temperatures got rid of that. Well, I think me and little buddy's going to go in the house and just sit down, put our feet up and relax. Maybe Lucky will come home and eat supper if he gets hungry. So we'll talk at you later. Please like, share, and subscribe to my videos. Y'all have a blessed day. Bye now.